Okay, come on in. Make yourself at home. There's seats. Try to fill in a table. Why don't you guys maybe come down over here, up here, or yeah, that's good. Make yourself at home. Can you guys sprinkle yourself to one of the other tables so we can get full tables? There's a couple. There's 3 seats. There's actually 4 seats over here at this corner table. All right, those of you guys coming in late, find a spot. Okay. Okay. Yeah, try to. Is there a is there an empty spot at somebody's table? What was that? All right. Uh, let's just get going with lecture. I'm Dr. Brickner. I'm the instructor for Physics 2048, and this is the combined section 0003 and 0004. And that is the way that we format the studio sections. Can you bring this stool over for me to sit in? Sorry, we're just getting set up here. Thank you. All right. And I'm a theoretical astrophysicist by trade. So what that means is that I think a lot about black holes and quantum field theory, early universe quantum field theory, and also lately information theory about black holes. So those are some of the things that if you want to get me distracted, during office hours and hear tales of adventure and intrigue, then get me talking on one of these topics. So I'll be your instructor for the semester. I've been teaching here at UCF since 2004, physics and astronomy classes and so forth. And but this is only my second semester teaching in this studio mode. And this is a special mode. If you may not have realized what you were signing up for. But what you've signed up for is a special mode of learning, really, in which you will work in groups of 3 students at 3 groups per table. And we'll start with some groups today. And my learning assistant and my graduate assistant, teaching assistant over here are their names. Tyler, this is Tyler Campbell. He's a grad student, and he's been in this room before. Make yourself at home, find a seat somewhere. And this is Nguyen. She's the learning assistant. They'll be circulating, and I'll do a little bit of circulating as well. Around the room, as you work in teams, they'll be kind of mentoring you along. And so the idea is that doing that is find a seat where there's one of the full tables, please. You can't sit by yourself. Not in this class. Is there a table with an empty seat? A spare? All right, cram yourself in with this table here. Just move a seat over there. All right. So the theory is that teaching and learning in this manner, in this mode, we call it studio mode here at UCF, will increase the amount of interaction. And just like, come on down over here, sit. Oh, some more guys. Actually, okay. What was your name again? Victor? Yeah. Take your earbud out and go ahead and move. What? Oh, that's your hat. Okay. Move back over to, you guys come down this corner table, okay? We'll form a group over there now. People arriving late. Sit together, you 3 guys. So the more interaction that you have with experts like me, like Quinn, like Tyler, and with your comrades, your group partners, the more that you'll learn. It's kind of like that famous line in Terminator 2. The cybernetic organism, the more interaction that he has with humans, the more he learns. And that's not just, a fancy movie. That's the way that we learn, basically by talking things over. Because talking things over forces you to think. Thinking is what I want you to be doing all this semester. So for those of you that are used to like a biology or anatomy class, we got to memorize a ton of stuff, forget it. You can memorize till the cows come home in this class, and it won't really help you that much, right? What I want you to be able to do is remember a few basic concepts and think, and then solve problems that I pose to you. Go on down here and sit over here with these three amigos over here, down here in the corner. All right, try to get here on time on Thursday. So anyways, that's what we want you to do. I want you to be thinking. It's a thinking criterion for this class. All right. Now, as I showed you on the previous screen, here's a kind of an outline of what we're going to do. We'll talk about the syllabus and stuff. You're going to take an exam. And I have a few little mini topics I want to go over with you. We're going to do some trig and stuff and do some homework. Well, you'll have a homework assignment. So let's get to it. So here are the introductions again. Let's go back to this. Tyler Campbell, Quinn Nguyen. Dr. Jean Grey from the X-Men. And this is a famous quote from X-Men 2, mutation. It is the key to our evolution. It is how we evolved from a single cell organism into the dominant species on this planet. This process is slow, normally taking thousands and thousands of years. But every few millennia, evolution leaps forward. Now, I love that in the movie because it basically tells you what the movie's about. All right. The X-Men, mutation stuff. Now, it's nice in Hollywood, and we're not going to be studying mutations and stuff. But we are going to be talking about stuff for which this is the theme. Galileo is the one that sets our theme. This is 400 something years ago, 1609, 410 years ago. Philosophy is written in this grand book, I mean the universe, which stands continually open to our gaze, but it cannot be understood unless one first learns to comprehend the language and interpret the characters in which it is written. Here we go. It is written in the language of mathematics, and its characters are triangles, circles, and other geometrical figures without which it is humanly impossible to understand a single word of it. And without it, one is wandering about in a dark labyrinth. Now, he sets the tone. That is what we will be doing. So now you guys, you're in his school. He started it all. We're all his students, even Sir Isaac Newton. Now, here is the real theme of this course. Getting down to the nitty-gritty. Interaction. To every action, there is always opposed an equal reaction. For the mutual actions of bodies upon each other are always equal and directed to contrary parts. Now, that's a quotation from Sir Isaac Newton's famous book, The Principles of Natural Philosophy. In those days, they didn't use the word physics for the study that we're doing. They use the word natural philosophy. The principle, they call it, and he wrote it in Latin, of course, the Principia. Principia Mathematicalis Naturalis or something like that. Principles of natural philosophy, mathematical principles of natural philosophy. And you've heard of that, hopefully, most of you. The third law, Newton's third law. For every action, there's an equal but opposite reaction. That's how we say it colloquially in this our day. But in his day, and that's translated into English, of course, that's what he wrote. To every action, there's always opposed an equal reaction. Why is the universe like that? You know, why does everything have to interact mutually? Why is that? But yet that is how the universe works. And that is what we're going to be studying, interaction. Now, here's a couple examples. I was watching television the other day, and I saw an advertisement for the Moffitt Cancer Center. And they were over in Tampa. And they were advertising that they have the only center in Florida that has mathematical. You guys can sit down. It's all right if you sit for a while. You don't have to stand. They were advertising that they have a center for mathematical oncology. In other words, studying the treatment of cancer mathematically. And I thought to myself, I better look that up. So I looked it up, and basically it's about DNA. Now look at it. Here's some DNA. Here's a DNA code. Look at this. Here it comes. 256 codons. You know, if you're taking biology, look at that. Here it's still coming. Here we go. There we go. 256. All right, almost done. You remember that from biology class? There it is, 256 of them. Cytosine, guanine, adenosine, thymine. Those are the, what do you call those? The molecules that are bonded into DNA. They hold the genetic code. So for instance, here's the same string of codes. And those guys in the mathematical oncology, what are they doing? Well, they're looking at different slices of the genome, like for instance this one, TCT, TAACC, and a few spaces away from this one, CGT, CAA, CAT, CCA, TTCG. And then down the line here, they might be looking at this one too. GCAA, CGG, TAA, AAC, a little bit longer. Because they know that these codes, these slices of the genome, and this is kind of you know, my version of the genome. I have no idea what these mean, but they're doing stuff. Probably what they're doing is much longer strings of code. They mean that they know that this thing encodes some property of the irises in your eye, and that this one codes something about the freckles on your nose, if you have any. And that this one over here says plenty of melanin. So what that means is you're going to have lots of freckles and brown eyes. That's what that means genetically. Now, how does all that work? You know, all those codes are built up with interaction, the hydrogen bonding. And this is just one side of the DNA string. You know, the DNA is a double helix. So you've got all the C's and G's and A's and T's on one side, and they partner up to its conjugate on the other side, and then it splits, and then it makes proteins. It goes to the RNA molecule, it manufactures proteins that control freckles on your nose, the properties of your iris, the amount of melanin in both of those. So that, that one plenty of melanin, that's called protein P. So that's why I called it plenty of melanin. It controls the amount of melanin in your body, like in your derma, your epidermis, your irises, stuff like that, freckles. And so all that code is formed miraculously with a hydrogen bond. From one side of the helix, the double helix, to the other side, there's a hydrogen bond. Here's another one. Interaction. This is 11 cis retinal. All right. Now this is the molecule in your retina, in the rhodopsin protein, by which you see. That little red guy out there at the end of the molecule, when it interacts with the right energy photon of light, neither too energetic nor too weak, but just the right, it'll flip to another form of retinal. It'll be all trans retinal. And that triggers your optic nerve. And that is how you see. And that's what we humans do. We're visual. And that's the molecule that operates at the basic level, the interaction between light and your brain. Your ability to, everybody in here has fantastic ability to visually interpret their surroundings. A little baby, just a day or two after it's born, has the ability to recognize its mom's face and its dad's face. And we can't get computers to do that. We got big, fancy supercomputers that can do that, but they don't make it every time. That little baby, every time. And that's how fantastic our brain is. Now, that is the object for interaction between light and the molecule itself. Now, here's another topic, going from molecules and stuff. Let's talk about something. Here's something else I saw on TV. See, it's all around you. This universe, it's continually open to our gaze. An eyeglass commercial, and if you buy 2 pairs, you can get free scratch-resistant coating. So I thought, because my glasses, these are my $2 eyeglasses from Walmart, and they're kind of scratched up because they don't have a scratch-resistant coating. So I got to buy another one soon. So I thought, all right, well, let's look at what is scratch-resistant coating. So I thought, let's take a look. All right, so there's your lens. All right. And let's say that this lens is about 3 millimeters thick. All right. Now it's made of polycarbonate, some kind of plastic. Maybe if you have glass is made of glass. Some people are supposed to have glasses made of glass. So this dimension in here, go ahead and make a sketch about 3 millimeters thick. We're going to do some numbers here, simple, but I still want you to have them down. So yeah, break them out. Break out your notebooks. Do some sketching on your iPad, whatever you got. Your composition book. I love this. Nice. What does interactions have to do with this and with scratch-resistant coating? Well, let's take a look at the coating. It's a non-scratch coating, scratch-resistant coating, and let's just what they do is they make the lens and then they kind of bake it on there. Let me give you that animation again. Go ahead. So here's the dimension, 3 millimeters there. Now here comes the coating. All right, here it comes. All right, it's very thin. How thin is it? Well, it's made of nanoparticles of zirconia. So that's zircon dioxide. All right, and it's mixed with some epoxy, which is a big molecule, transparent epoxy. And it's about 50 microns thick. All right. Now, a micron symbolizes mu-m. That stands for a millionth of a meter, 1 × 10⁻⁶ meters. All right. So the ratio here, lens to coating, is about 60:1. So the lens is about 60 times thicker than the coating. And this is precise. I did this carefully. This is that's actual 60:1 thickness. All right. So this is a scratch resistant coating. Nice. You know, you don't have to worry about scratches on your specs. But you know, the thing is, you still have to work out the optical effects because this is two different compounds. You know, the base of the lens is polycarbonate, some kind of a polycarbonate molecule. And then the coating is a set of other molecules in the non-scratch coating. And so when that happens, you have to account for the optical effects. The whole idea of lenses is the interaction between, for instance, glass and air is refraction. And it bends the light and focuses it. If it's well made, it'll focus it on your retina. If the lens of your eye doesn't do it, you put on a pair of glasses, and they'll focus things, you know, right on the retina, and things will look sharp. Otherwise, it might look fuzzy. Right? So all those optical effects, but you've got two layers, and actually you got three layers. You got to go from air to the non-scratch coating, from the non-scratch coating to the lens, from the lens back to the air, and then it's got to go into your eye. So it's a completely complex system. All right. And so the optical effects in that layer of scratch resistant coating are important because visible light, now here's another number for you, 400 to 700 nanometers wavelength. All right. So that means every 400 to, you know, so violet is about 400 nanometers. So if you're looking at a violet ray of light, it'll make every 400 nanometers, it'll make a full squiggle. It's a wave, right? And then another 400 nanometers, another squiggle in the electric field propagating through that layer. And so for the scratch resistant coating, the wavelength to coating ratio is about 1 to 70. Okay, so what that means is, even though that coating looks really thin, and it is relative to the lens, but relative to visible light, you're talking about 70 full oscillations in there, 70 wavelengths just going through that coating. So we would say that that's a lot of optical depth. And even though it doesn't look like it to us, for waves of light, yeah, that's a lot of optical in the visible band. Now, if you're talking some other wavelength, you know, like radio wavelength, you know, radio wavelengths could be 100 meters. All right, they're just going to breeze through something like that. They don't have any wave effects going through scratch-resistant coating, but visible light, yeah. Now, zirconia molecules, ZrO2, yeah. Now we're talking the periodic table. Now all this stuff, all these electromagnetic interactions, that's actually in 2049. But the interaction concept is what we're going to really get our hooks into this semester. But this table, the periodic table, that's the interaction city, man. It's like an orchestra. I mean, here's zircon and oxygen up here. Let's get a little closer. There they are, zirconium and oxygen. And you know, and they bond together. They form little crystals. That's what goes in the. And zirconium is a very important crystal in a lot of ways. Among one way of which is the scratch-resistant coating for your specs. Right. So that's chemical bonding. All right. It's very tough. All right. Chemical bonding. It's hard to scratch. All right. And this whole idea of chemical bonding, yeah, that's interaction. Now here's another picture. This is a first attempt at, this is from my physics class last semester, a problem we worked on. going through a lens from air into glass and then back out of the glass into the air and getting a bend in the ray of light. So you can see the ray. And, you know, when we worked on this problem, it took us like almost an hour to work out all the trig in this thing. Oh, did I say trig? Yeah. This is what we call optical mayhem, this calculation here. It was pretty hairy, all right? But it's all about the interaction. There's two interaction points, where the ray of light enters the glass and where the ray of light exits the glass on the right side of the diagram, right? We got to, those interactions, we're going to get the concepts for figuring that stuff out and really understanding it this semester. For instance, DNA bonds, retinal triggering, bonding in general. The coin of the realm for that kind of interaction are three things: momentum, energy, and angular momentum. All right. And so when you have a force, you know, here's a Klingon bird of prey trying to put a tractor beam on a gigantic blob of jello out in space. So tractor beam, yeah, that's an interaction. And the coin of that realm is momentum, energy, and angular momentum. And we'll be learning about all that stuff this semester. All right. Now, zirconia, yeah, nanoparticles, yeah, no problem. For that, especially the optical properties, you know, we need energy, momentum, and angular momentum. Also, we have to understand oscillating systems and waves. And we'll be studying that this semester, right? Towards the end of the semester. All right. And then in 2049, when you do a little bit of optics, when you do a little bit of electromagnetic interaction, which are the same thing, I repeat myself. Basically, 2049 is the electromagnetic interaction, which is deluxe. All of chemistry is almost all of chemistry, I should say, is the electromagnetic interaction, electrons doing what they do. But we're going to get the concepts for all that stuff in this semester. Now, we're going to be doing dorky experiments, you know, with little, you know, with pendulums and little blocks sliding across the table and stuff. And nobody does research on that now. But by golly, people are still doing electromagnetic research. And that's everything. Chemistry, mathematical oncology. You got to know that stuff, right? So here's another. So in this idea of oscillating systems and waves, here's another picture that I love. This maniac, this headless maniac, is basically displaying another instance of optical mayhem. Now, by the end of 2049, you'll nail this. But it kind of looks kind of cool, you know, and you can basically say that this is refraction, an optical delusion brought about by optical mayhem, also known as refraction of light. All right. In addition to that, and this is getting back to Professor Galileo now, all this idea of interaction, it all includes tons of trig and calculus. Now, I want to show of hands. Raise your hand if you have had calculus before. Raise them all high. Don't just go like this. All right. Now, you've never had calculus before? No, you're raising your hand. Okay, good. Raise it high. I shouldn't see any. Yo, over there in the green. Yeah, you've had calculus, right? Why aren't you raising your hand? What? You mean my question is stupid? You don't like calculus? You mean the question is stupid? Why aren't you raising your hand? It's a simple question. If you're going to do that this semester, you better report to another section, my friend. You know, that kind of passive resistance, passive aggression is not going to work. Not in this class. You're going to drag down everybody else and it's not going to please me, and I'll nail you for, you'll betray yourself. Your grades will suck. You do what you want though. All right, you can put your hands down. That's good. Most everybody in here's had calculus. It's good. And we're going to be doing some trig today. In fact, we're going to be doing a trig extravaganza. But before we do that, I want to give you guys some exams. All right, so clear your desk. Put your, not that not you have to take notes on anything, but just bundle up, get a pencil out. And what we're going to be doing, Tyler and Quinn are going to come around with tests. All right, and I want you to I want you to listen carefully. All right, you're going to be bubbling dots on the front and on the back. All right, now the first test you take, can you hold up one of those FCIs? And just show it around for everybody to see. Okay, this is what we call the force concept inventory. You're going to bubble that in on the front, the side, and I don't know how many questions. What is it, 30? Yeah, 30 questions. Okay, so you're going to fill up most of the front side. Okay, so put your name on it, and then put your PID. Okay, that's the ID number that you use. One letter, and then I think it's 7 digits after that. Okay, the PID. Wait a minute. Yeah, you don't have to put the numbers in now, but you can if you want. All right, and that's, you put the PID in here. All right. Now, let me pause the recording first. By the way, okay, students, just so you know what we're doing with that, it's not part of your semester grade. I hope you did as well as you could instead of Christmas tree in the test. But half of you took one test for the second test, half of you took the other one, and then everybody took the same version of the first one. And what they're trying to do is figure out where you stand at the beginning of the semester. And they're doing this for not just this class, this section, but for all classes 2053, 2048, 2054, 2049. All right. So it's kind of like a research initiative they're trying to do to figure out how you guys learn different things about the teaching process and so forth like that. So thank you for doing that, for taking that test, and it's something that that's going to help us out in the department. Now I want to give you another survey, and for that this is a Dr. Brickner survey. By the way, if you don't want to call me Dr. Brickner, you can call me Dr. B, because Brickner is one of these dipsy German last names that's infinitely mispronounceable and infinitely misspellable. So if you feel like you're gonna mess up, just refer to me as Dr. B. That's fine with me. So the survey we're going to take is just 3 questions, multiple choice. Put your name and your PID at the top. Okay, and it can be big letters. It's got to be legible. Who needs a piece of blank paper? Okay, these 2 guys. Okay. Name and PID, please, and then number 1, 2, and 3 in big letters down the side, and you're just going to write in a very short answer for each, and then we'll collect them. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, and 3. There's your 3 questions. So it's basically multiple choice. Don't look at your neighbor's paper. Gosh. Go ahead and collect. Go ahead and collect them. All right, we're just going to come around and collect them now. Somebody at each table, collect them all for your table. Uh, what is your name again? Anne Marie. Thank you, Anne Marie. We got everybody? All right. Give all of these to Tyler, please. Tyler, you're going to be tabulating all this stuff between now and Thursday. I need it tomorrow night because there's this information we're going to use to set up groups. Okay. All right. Next task. We're going to talk a little bit about the syllabus. Okay. So go ahead and take a stack. Just hand them out in bundles. Keep that somewhere. Okay, and I'm going to keep recording in this YouTube, and but I'm going to go to the document cam. We'll talk about this for a few minutes. By the way, you see me hobbling around the classroom. I have a bad left leg, an injury to it, trying to get rehab. I'd like to say it's some kind of a old combat injury from the War of 1812 or something admirable like that. But in reality, it's from horseplay. So, but it's very difficult for me to walk, and I'm pretty much in constant pain. So uh, that's why I don't walk around the room as much as I would like. All right, let's take a look at this Dipsy syllabus. All right. And by the way, I YouTube everything. I'm recording today's session, at least the part where I'm talking. So this is going in the recording, and I'll YouTube it, and I'll put a link. Can you flick over to the computer? Here's the home page, and it's available now. I just published it a few minutes ago. Um, Quinn, can you hit the save button there? No, on the computer screen. I was just trying to edit it. And you can see that there's a list of resources for the student: syllabus, free textbook, homework list, sessions in YouTube. So after I get the YouTube of this session today published, I'll put a link on there. Yeah. Another syllabus. Okay, can you switch it back to the document cam? press the home key. Okay, great. All right. All right, so let's go through some of this stuff. All right, in the top left, it's the basic specs. There's the spelling of my name again. I try not to mess it up. Course description from the course catalog. Here's my office, and office hours for this class are Mondays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Now our exams are going to be on Tuesdays. Okay, our exams and quizzes. So I deliberately set it up so that this would be a strategic time for office hours. Now notice that it's in room 158. My regular office is 156, but I can only have about 2 or 3 students in there, and there's no marker board or anything. Room 158 is right next to the main entrance to the physical sciences building. It's a big solarium type sunroom, and it's very nice, and it's definitely set up for bunches of students. Okay, email. Don't use conventional email. Only web courses. Okay, the regular inbox messaging system, and the reason for that is FERPA, the Federal Privacy Act for educational students. I cannot talk to you about your grades and stuff in regular email, but inside the web courses messaging system, that's considered secure and private. So do that, and I don't even respond to it. And so I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything, but just try to remember to use that. Oh, notice I don't even have my phone number on here now. I guess I took that out. Don't try to call me on the phone. I mean, you can look it up in the directory for UCF, but I'm hardly ever there because I'm always somewhere else on campus. That we don't have any classrooms over there, and in the physical sciences building, so I'm over there just like Mondays. All right, Tyler is the GTA, Quinn is the LA. Here's our class time, 8 to 10:50. Textbook, General Physics using Calculus 1. Quinn, can you click on the free textbook link there? No, no, in the, yeah. Okay. This is what, and can you click over click back to the home page. Okay, get the computer. Show the, switch to the computer. You got it, computer. All right, Quinn is going to show you the, all right, here's the home page again. Now go ahead and click on free textbook. All right, so if you go down to chapter 3 or something. Okay, click on anything, 3, 4. All right, so if you click on this, go down the page, you'll see a bunch of stuff, equations and whatnot, diagrams. Okay, so that's the free textbook. Did I say free? Yes. You do not have to pay for it. I was waiting there. I knew everybody would be happy about it. Yeah, so that's definitely nice. And it's a good textbook. All right, iClicker. iClicker is required. You can buy it from the bookstore if you. Oh, switch it back over to laptop or to .cam. Yeah. Come on, baby. There we go. Okay, so here's the iClicker, and we want iClicker 2. We're going to do an iClicker question in a few minutes, just for practice, nothing special. But definitely get that, and you're going to register it inside web courses. Okay, switch back to the computer and go to the home page. Okay, now up in the upper left navigation bar, it says iClicker. Do me a favor, go over to where it says student view over there. on the right. See that? Okay. Now this is the so-called student view. Click on the iClicker. This is where you register. So all you got to do is type in that little number on the back, and then like your Knight's mail address and so forth, and you're golden. All right. And so when you get your clicker, you can do it right now if you log in. But try to get that done by tomorrow or by Thursday. All right. Switch back to .cam, please. Okay. All right. So that's here. Definitely register that in web courses. Now, next paragraph, how we will grade your performance. There'll be 2 quizzes and 1 midterm exam and 1 final examination. There'll be many iClicker 2 sessions in class. We'll be clicking like maniacs in here. There'll be classwork to turn in for grading. Hopefully we'll do some classwork today if we have time. There'll be weekly written homework to turn in for grading. Now that's going to be assigned on Thursdays, collected the following Tuesday, graded and turned back to you by the following Thursday. So it's a 1-week cycle. There is, and here's the chart that puts all the points together. Okay, so quiz 1 and quiz 2 are 18 points each. And so that's going to be like the last 20 minutes of these particular dates, March 31st to February 4th. But the midterm exam will use a good hour and a half for the midterm exam on February 5th. So like the last hour and a half of class. And then the final exam, unfortunately, is at 7 a.m. on April 23rd. And my wonderful students, I sincerely apologize. I would sincerely apologize, but I had nothing to do with it. It's the governor of the state of Florida. And one of these days, if I get elected to be governor of UCF or something, I'll put a ban to 7 a.m. finals. Are you with me? Yes. Good. I hope the governor listens to this YouTube. All right, so anyways, now that one's going to be 144 points. And I have a list, a column there where it says how many problems you'll be solving in each. So the midterm, you'll have 4 problems, written problems to solve. Final exam, 8. And so the point values are roughly, 1 to 4 to 8 in the points column. Now, written homework, everybody's going to be graded for 3 of them by me. And everybody else, you're going to have 10 written, I think it's 10, or no, you're going to have 9 written homework problems. And 3 of them will be graded by me, and 6 of them will be graded by this young lad standing behind me. You guys can sit down if you want and relax, if you can relax. And he'll be grading the other ones. And so my grade is the one that is going to be worth 12 points each. So you can see the written homework here, 3 of them, and they add up to 36 points. So that's 12 points each. So that's Dr. B grading. And the other ones will just be grading for participation. All right, now classwork is going to be, who knows, Tuesdays and Thursdays, various amounts. And so that includes clicking and all of our written classwork. All right, and that's all going to be shoved into a pile and then converted into 72 points. So we're going to have way more than 72 clicker questions. And I don't know how many points we'll have. We're going to try to have at least 1 classwork, written work for Tyler to grade every day, every class meeting. And so nobody knows how many points that's going to be. All right, and we're going to try to do some today. But I'm going to convert them all down to 72 points. Now, as you can see, that's 25% of your grade. And the fraction of your grade is nice and even. 5% for each quiz, 20% for the midterm, 40% for the final, that's double the midterm, 10% for written homework, 25% for classwork. Now, the reason for this is that we don't have the normal Physics 2048 lab like the other students in the big lecture sections have. You know, they meet 2 days a week or 3 days a week in lecture, and then 1 day a week for, I don't know, what is it, 4 hours or something in lab. And that's a painful experience, if in my opinion. And we don't have that in this class. In effect, we'll be doing our lab work in here. Okay, so it'll be a little different. But that's why the classwork is 25%. Now, let's look at this examination concepts. No makeup exams or quizzes, and I will not administer them early or late. All right? So you just got to be here. There's no makeups. All right? A non-graphic, non-programmable calculator may be used during exams. We will not be using formula sheets on examinations or quizzes. So what I normally do is give you a little short matching, 5 or 6 matching questions where I give you formulas on one side and then like the name of the formula or some kind of a concept, and you match them across, and those will be the formulas that you need for the calculations on the test. Now you got to remember your trig. You know, sine is opposite over hypotenuse and all that stuff. A squared plus B squared equals C squared, et cetera, et cetera. But the actual physics formulas and stuff that you need, you'll have on the test. And so you don't worry. That's why I always say, don't worry about memorizing them. Now, other classes, they do that. They let you have a little card, and you can write anything on the index card that you want. But in my experience, that does not help at all for the task that we're here for. All right. Now, the next paragraph says, you are well advised to make sure your schedule is clear on Thursday, April 23rd until lunchtime or so, and don't schedule airline tickets, cruises, or work at your job off campus until after lunchtime or so. Now, I have first priority on your time from 7 a.m. to 9:50, and I never budge. Okay, you just got to be there. In fact, you got to be here for all the exams. So make that your objective here in the next few days to work it out with your BOSS, program it into your phone, and get your boss. Just tell him Dr. Brickner is an SOB, a son of a Brickner. All right, and he never budges. I've got to have that time off. I have to be in. Now, your other days, you should be here too, because classwork, there's no makeup for classwork either. But that's a much smaller pile of points per day. But missing missing the midterm, I'm sorry. Missing a quiz, you could probably do that. I don't advise it. But you could probably weather that and still maybe get a B for the semester. But the final, forget it. You'd have to even get a C and skip the final. You'd have to ace every other task in this table, and that's not probable. Okay, classwork. Let's look at this up here. Second column, first page. IClicker activity plus classwork will be converted to grade points and added to examination points and written homework points at the semester's end. In other words, that's this 72 down here. All right, down here on the second table. All right, IClicker activity is part of our classwork, so you have to A, be present in class, B, have your IClicker 2 registered through web courses. And I showed you that already. So, and C, it has to be in working order. Now, if you have an IClicker 2 and you don't have some good batteries in it, I highly recommend that you go get some energizers or some Duracells, because the ones that come with it are really cheap, and they have a bad habit of flaking out in the middle of an exam. Because you got it on, you're using it for 30, 40 minutes maybe during an exam, and you will be using your iClicker during exams, all right, for a little bit of it, all right. So, but you don't want it to flake out in the middle. So get some good batteries in there and you should be good. And we'll do an iClicker question here in a few minutes. Okay, third paragraph under classwork. We will work hands-on inquiry-based activities during the class period that allow you to uncover various aspects of a physics concept. Classroom activities of this kind will be on a group basis. Now you're in groups today, all right? And we're gonna do some group work today, but this is accidental groups today. On Thursday, I'll have a seating chart for every group, okay? And it's gonna be based on your answers to that little 3-question mini survey I made. Anyways, so classroom activities will be on a group basis. Every member of the group will receive the same grade for this work. So teamwork is essential, and that's why you should not miss class. And also, make sure everybody in your team, it's going to be a seating chart. I'm going to form the teams for the first few weeks. After 4 weeks, we may shift groups again, okay? But for the first few weeks, you'll be in the team that I manufacture for you. So make sure nobody's a slacker, okay? All right, iClicker 2 details. Register your iClicker 2 through web courses only. And when you're doing that, turn off pop-up blocking and use Firefox or Chrome. Try not to use Safari. In fact, don't use Safari for web courses. I've found that it's really shaky as to image rendering. But I do all my work at Firefox, Chrome now, and I hear Firefox is pretty good too. Now that's on a Mac. If you're on a Windows computer using Internet Explorer or some other software over there, I have no idea. Just you're on your own as far as that goes. But if you're on a Mac, try using Chrome or Firefox, especially for this. Now, no class code is needed when you register through web courses. All right. Now, your other class, if you have another class that uses an iClicker, you can use your iClicker in that other class. It's no problem. And they may ask you to use the iClicker.com website to register. All right. Go ahead and do what your instructor tells you to do in that class. All right. But for this class, use web courses, and it will tolerate you using both. Right now, the reason that I use web courses is it automatically connects you to the roster. So there's no screw ups about who gets what points. Okay. So we're using web courses. By the way, if you do not have an iClicker, you can buy. They're kind of expensive. Try not to buy it at the bookstore. Everything over there is expensive. You ever notice that? I mean, the bookstore, the books. It's unbelievable what they do. I published a textbook a few years ago for one of my other classes, and they jacked up the price 25%. And the whole and now I've taken over publishing of it, and I give it to my students for free because the bookstore can jump in a lake as far as I'm concerned. And that's why you guys get free textbooks. I've managed to find out good quality free textbooks for you guys. But anyways, buy the iClicker at the bookstore maybe, or I don't know. Does Tech Commons have them over there in the computer store, the technology store? I'm sure off campus you can buy them at Textbooks. What is that place across the road? Textbooks Plus or whatever. Okay, so look around, get an iClicker. If you have a roommate, now listen, if you have a roommate and they have an iClicker that they're not using on Tuesday and Thursday mornings, you can use theirs. But you still have to register it through web courses, so that's all right, right? And then they could use it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to their heart's content in their courses, right? The system can tolerate that, all right? So that'll save you a little bit of money. Now, don't do a 5-finger discount, midnight requisition. Ask your roommate if you can borrow it, right? You got to tell them. All right. Deadline for IClicker. So this is the second paragraph under IClicker 2 details. Deadline for IClicker 2 registration is January 21st. So that's the day after Martin Luther King Day, which UCF has off. But of course, we don't meet on Mondays anyway, so we don't have it off. And that's when the official iClicker 2 pointage will start. And prior to that, we'll have practice questions, like we'll have one practice question today. And for students that are registered for that session, each of the four sessions between now and January 21st, you'll get a bonus point. So potentially 4 bonus points. Now we're going to do some practice questions, real cinchy stuff, you know, but eventually they'll be pretty challenging. Okay. Next session, homework methods, written homework. And listen carefully to how this works. A weekly written homework assignment will be handed out on Thursdays. We'll have one for this Thursday. It will be due on the following Tuesday, so you have all weekend to work on it. All right. Plus, you have office hours Monday to review with me about it if you can make it to office hours. I will divide the class up on Tuesdays into a few groups of 33 students. Each Tuesday, we will collect the written work from a different group of 33 students. And that's for full grading by me, Dr. Brickner. Everybody else will be summarily graded by our teaching assistant, but not for points. Okay, so that'll be to make sure. Tyler will be doing that, and he'll be eyeballing it and maybe making a comment or two, but he'll be basically giving you a check mark for that one. It won't be for points. Well, it won't be for huge points. I may give bonus points at the end of the semester for everybody that does every single homework without fail. I mean, you can, and you're never going to know when I call your group. So if your last name is Mahoney, starting with the letter M, it's the middle, so you'll be in the middle group of the alphabet, probably. I might not call you the first or the second week, and I might wait till the third week, so you'll never know who's going to get called, all right? This thing is flicking again. Has it been flicking in and out? This one's, has that one been flicking out, in and out? Or has it been steady? The picture of it? Okay. This one seems to flicker. I don't know why. All right, so we will hand back the graded homework further in the middle of the paragraph the following Thursday. So you'll get rapid feedback. And I'll be grading your every paper that I grade, I'll be writing comments, and smiley faces and frown faces and, underlines and big scribble outs if you make a big mess. All right. And remember, the written problems are a communication to me, a human being. All right. So when you're getting your first problem this coming weekend, you're getting it ready to turn in Tuesday, remember, it's like a message to Dr. Brickner. So numbers all over the page, and then one at the end circled in red ink. That doesn't cut it. You're going to have to include a strategic sentence or two, a good diagram, not too small. If I can put my thumb over your diagram and cover it, it's too small, and I'll take points off for that. Okay, so you can have good diagrams. You've got to have a sentence or two here and there telling me what your thinking is. And then you've got to have the numbers to back it up. All right, it's got to be clear because it's a communication to me. And a lot of you guys are heading into professional scientific or engineering careers. At least that's what you're being educated for. All right, now when you get out of here, you're going to be paid for doing that. And that means you're going to have a BOSS. And he controls your salary and your promotion. And so what you want to be able to do with him is communicate clearly and evenly and even boringly. You don't want to have a novel, an exciting adventure novel. but you want to communicate the basics. And that's what our written problems should be, right? Now, they're going to be one page. It's not going to be some bodacious, calculating the pressure inside of a red giant star in some other galaxy. You don't want to have to worry about that. We got guys to handle that. But these ones, they'll be one page, written, and I'll be grading them. And just so you know, I'm a tough grader, right? And that's why you're getting 1 graded by me. You're going to get 3 graded by me over the course of the semester. Everybody will have 1 graded by me before the first quiz, right? And the first quiz, you'll be doing 1 written problem graded by me. So those first 3 written homeworks will prepare you for the first quiz. And after the first quiz, we'll have another 3 written homeworks, and everybody will have at least 1 of them graded by me. And then we'll have the midterm. And after the midterm, so hopefully that'll prepare you again for the midterm. That's going to be even bigger, 4 problems. And then after that, we'll have another 3 problems, and that'll prepare you for quiz number 2. Then after quiz number 2, we don't have enough time for 3 more homeworks. So we'll have some special homeworks to work on, some optional homeworks. By that time, you'll know what you're doing, hopefully. Let's keep going here. Okay. With this method, by the end of the semester, we will have cycled through the entire class 3 times, as I just mentioned. Every student will have 3 homework problems well and truly graded by Dr. Brickner, each worth 12 points, total of 36. This being the case, it behooves each student to be prepared with good work. Don't turn in garbage, because I'll just write a big X through it and give you zip zap. I'll do it. I've done it a million times. You got to give me good work, and you'll get used to what I consider good work. And you'll see me working out problems up here on the document. I mean, today I'm just blabbing my big mouth about the syllabus, but eventually I'll be doing velocity and forces and energy diagrams and stuff up here. You'll see how I do things. All said, these 36 points count for 10% of your semester grade. That's a significant fraction. So don't blow it. Okay, examination procedure. All right, top of the second page, left column. Okay, there's your exam schedule. It's all spelled out for you again. The final exam will be in this room, but note it's special time, 7 a.m. So much fun. They'll include a few multiple choice questions, the midterms, and I'm not sure about the quizzes, but the midterm and the final, yes. I might just give you 1 straight problem on quiz 1 and quiz 2. I haven't decided yet. You'll need to purchase UCF fill in the dots test form, like the ones that we use today, the raspberry colored ones with the UCF logo. You can buy them in packets of 6, etc. We may also use IClicker 2 on exam days for some of the exam questions. And the reason that we may do that is because it's very fast for me to grade your numeric answer using IClicker 2, even giving partial credit on IClicker 2, because it gives me a big spreadsheet of your answers, and I can go look and see, okay, he forgot a minus sign, or this guy forgot a factor of pi over 2, or that one forgot to multiply by 2, or something like that. I could give you partial credit, or you didn't round off exactly right, or you're off by a factor of 10 in some scientific notation answer. I can do that with IClicker and give partial credit and do it quickly. So sometimes we use them on exams. All right. Third paragraph. Any cheating I detect on exams will be punishable by no less than a 0 on the exam in question and up to expulsion from UCF. And we have done that. All right. Extra provisions. All right. UCF is committed to providing reasonable accommodation for all persons with disability. I share the same commitment. Students with disabilities who need accommodations must be registered with SAS, Student Accessibility. It should be SAS. They changed the name. In Feral Commons room 185. The phone numbers are given there. And you have to do that before requesting accommodations from Dr. Brickner. Students registered with SAS that need accommodations must contact me at the beginning of the semester to discuss needed accommodations. No accommodations will be provided until the student has met with Dr. Brickner. Now, basically, the way that we do that now is it's all automated on the student accessibility website. It's called Knights Access, I think. And I've already gotten a few of the Dear Professor letters for a few students in here. So if you haven't gotten yours done, just try to get that paperwork rolling, and we'll get you squared away. And we do this every semester, and it's not a problem at all. It's easy to do. We'll handle it. Okay, next paragraph. At UCF, academics comes first. Attendance at exams is mandatory. University excused absences are only for religious observances. Like this semester, we're going to have like Easter, Passover, that kind of thing. Intercollegiate activities and athletics. So if you're in the debate club or something like that and you have a travel date, you need to give me something called the program verification sheet. Just ask your coach or your advisor about that. Military call-ups and university verified family or medical emergency. Now what that means is family emergency means like a hurricane. Back in 2000, who was here in Florida for 2004? Charlie, Francis, and Jeannie. Okay, a few of you are still here. The rest of you guys, let's see. You were probably too small to remember it. Yeah. But anyways, that was a bad semester. It really screwed up our exam schedule. But short of that, it's, family verified emergencies don't include weddings. But a medical emergency is like you in the ER, or maybe your parent, one of your parents, God forbid, in the hospital, something like that. And we'll square that away. We'll verify that, but God help you. Hopefully nobody has to go through that. And I hope nobody in here ends up in the ER either. All right. So hopefully everybody will go through the semester adequately. Now, next sentence. Weddings, plane tickets that your parents got at Priceline.com, etc., are not legitimate excuses. All right? For missing a test or for missing anything. And I one time had a student in this class. This is going back to about 2007 or so. And she was a good student, and she came up to me and wanted to miss the final. And I said, well, you can't miss the final. But Dr. B, I have a job. And I said, well, what kind of job? You still got to make the final. Well, I have a job as a hula dancer in Hawaii as soon as the semester breaks. I said, well, no. So if you have a job as a hula dancer or any other kind of dancer, you still got to make the final. All right. So none of that, All right, next paragraph. It is physics department policy that making up missed work will only be permitted for university sanctioned activities and bona fide medical or family reasons, as I mentioned. Authentic justifying documentation must be provided in every case and in advance for university sanctioned activities. That's the program verification form, and I've already gotten one from one of my other classes. At the discretion of the instructor, the makeup may take any reasonable and appropriate form, including but not limited to the following: a replacement exam, replacing the missed work with the same score as a later exam, or allowing a dropped exam. Okay. Student Academic Resource Center, SARC, offers tutoring for this course. Now, their schedule, I talked to them yesterday. They don't have their schedule sorted out yet, but they will in the next few days. So if you want to try their tutoring, also they have supplemental instruction, SI, and if you've never heard of that, it's a nice study procedure, but they have that for one of the big lecture sections, not this section. So you're welcome to go to that if you find out when they meet, but it won't necessarily sync up with the stuff that we do in here. It may still be helpful. You're definitely welcome. Okay, grading. Everybody wants to know about this. Okay, I give points based on or excuse me, I give letter grades based on the points column. Okay, so 324 points out of 360 is an A. That's 90% of the regular points. Now we may have a few bonus points here and there, but not a whole ton of them. So make sure you get your exams and homework in, and you'll qualify maybe for an A. B, 270 points or more. That's 75% of the total available points. C, you have to break 216 points. Now notice the final is 100, all right? And 360 minus 100 is 260. So if you skip the final, you can't even make a B, and you can make a C if you totally crush everything else. A D, 180 points or more, and below that an F. Now, the people down here that get Fs are people. There's an easy way to get an F in this class, and that is to not come to class, because you'll miss instruction, you'll miss classwork that can't be made up, and you'll be clueless on the big exams. You'll bomb the exams, right? The other way to do it is to miss an exam, all right? So you absolutely have to be here for each exam. There's no single class this semester for this class that you can miss. Now, my other classes, they're set up differently. But this class, we're going to be doing lab work in class every day. And that's 25% of your grade. So you got to be here every day. And if we're not doing that, we're doing an exam. So you got to be there for that. So that means every single day, you got to be here. Clicking, classwork, examining, all that stuff, mandatory. All right. Next sentence. I do not grade on the curve. Ever. Do not come up to me if you see me in Chick-fil-A getting some strips. Dr. B, are you going to curve that midterm or no? Because the answer is no. I never do that. All right? Ever. It's a big ripoff, the curve. It means that I can only give a certain number of A's to the class, like 10 A's or whatever, whatever the curve says. But if you earn an A, I want everybody in here to get an A, and my job is to push as many of you to the top end of the performance chart as I can. I don't want a bell-shaped curve. I want to break it. All right? And that's why I'm going to be such a pain in the, you know what? Worse than your mother-in-law on steroids. Nagging you about homework and exams and pushing you hard because I want you to get an A. But most of all, I want you to think. The way to get an A in this class is to be ready to think. Think on your feet, putting stuff together that you've never put together before. That's it. Mutations. It's just like that. A mutation is something that's never been put together before. So nobody here is a mutant. I'm sure. I'm pretty sure. Let me just glance around here. No, I don't see any mutants. But you're going to have to deal intellectually with very difficult intellectual challenges. Now I'm going to give you some bad news here. There's going to be plenty of good news this semester, but the bad news is that it's going to be difficult. And I'm not going to make it babyish. And there's a couple reasons for that. First of all, raise your hand if you're in an engineering major. Okay, so that's the majority of this class. The engineering department makes this a required class for all you guys. Now that's understandable. But the way they set it up, it puts a premium on it. I hate to say this, but this is supposed to be a weed out class. All right. And what that means is I don't have any mercy other than talking to you guys 6 hours a week about various concepts. But if you don't make the grade, that's tough. Toenails. You'll flunk. I had a student a few semesters ago in this class, Physics 2048. And the midterm, you guys have got pressure on you. One midterm, 2 quizzes, and you got to make them both. And then the final, double the size of a midterm. You're going to feel the pressure, I guarantee it. And some of you are going to hate my guts. I guarantee it. By the end, some of you already may hate my guts. That's fine. By the end of the semester, it's a big club, I hate Dr. Brickner club. But I can handle that, right? But it's a real thing. I'm going to challenge you in physics. I'm going to challenge you in calculus. Our use of calculus in this class, it's going to be hard, right? But if you survive, if you prosper, you will win your spurs. And I guarantee you some of you will win your spurs this semester. Some of you next semester, maybe. Now, the tale of two cities. A few semesters ago, I had a midterm. And there's 4 problems on the midterm. And one of them was a free fall problem. 1/2 GT squared. Right? And there was a student in the first row. And this is down the big lecture hall, downstairs. And I'm up at the front at the table that we had set up, to collect scantrons and test papers and stuff. And everybody's working on their test, and it's an hour class, and they're working their brains out. And this one guy in the front, he came up to me in like 20 minutes into the test, and he said, Dr. Brickner, I'm blacking out. I can't remember how to do this problem. And it was a pretty basic free fall problem, drop distance and calculations like that. And he was blacking out because of the pressure. And I told him, I can't help you with that. You've got to know that. And he just lost it. He just, and by the end of the semester, he was stalking me by the end of the semester. I had to call, I'm not joking. I had to call the cops. I had to call the campus police. And I hope nothing like that happens to you, but it does show you that there's pressure and that I cannot help you during an exam. Now, in 2049, no, actually in this class too, there's only one exception. The right-hand rule. Does anybody remember, who's had high school physics, do you remember the right-hand rule? That's, yeah, I can see that. It's the right-hand rule is the only time I will help a student in an exam. And the reason for that is that when I was in grad school, my first year in grad school, I'm studying for the qualifying exam, so that you can get into the PhD program. And I was working on these problems, and I kept getting the wrong answer. I kept getting a negative, the right magnitude, but a negative instead of a positive. And it was using it was some kind of a magnetic problem, with a magnetic field or something. I kept working it, and I'm writing and I got my calculator and I'm calculating furiously with my calculator, and so in my office, my grad student office, my next door neighbor, she was studying for the same exam. We all were. I said, what am I doing wrong here? I keep getting, and then I realized I was writing with my right hand and I was doing the right hand rule stuff with my left hand. And I have seen students do that in exams here at UCF. But when I do, I will tell you, no, the other right hand. All right? So that's the only time I ever help students. But other than that, that guy, it was tough. I didn't like it. I mean, I didn't like having to say, I can't help you. But that's what we're in. Because some of you are going to be engineers. And if you just want to be an engineer that designs shoelaces at a shoelace factory, okay, that's not going to be life-threatening if you screw up. But if you're working out here at the Kennedy Space Center and you're bringing men back from space or sending them up, you better damn know your P's and Q's, your numbers. You better know your numbers solid. And if some of you are going to go to med school, maybe. Raise your hand if you're thinking about med school, maybe. Dental school. Okay, a few of you. You guys have got every day, you're going to have potentially life-threatening decisions to make. You've got to know it. All right. Now, when students go through med school, you've probably all heard stories about that. My little sister is an MD, my niece is an MD, and they put them through, physics 2048 pressure is hard, but med school pressure, oh my goodness, they put them through the ringer. All right. Now, second story, the tale of two cities. The one guy froze on an easy problem, blacked out, very bad. Second guy, he was in the Dr. Brickner, the I Hate Dr. Brickner Club. We about 2/3 of the way through the semester, I whipped out this triple integral. Does anybody know what a triple integral is? Raise your hand if you know what it. All right, not many of you. Okay, and it was for a calculation of moment of inertia or something. All right. And you should have seen the waves of insurrection rippling through the entire class. These faces of, like, let's go get him, boys, like pitchforks and torches and stuff. And you could just see, and this one guy, and there's this one group, they said about 3 rows up on the left side of the lecture hall. I'll never forget it. And when they looked at me every day, it was like the look of hate every day. Especially that day. All right, 2 semesters. So they went through. Some of them, most of them passed. But not all of them got A's or B's. So a bunch of people won their spurs and some didn't. But here's the rest of that story. A couple semesters after that, I'm in my little old office over in the physical sciences building, and I'm in my office. I got the door open. It's like a Tuesday afternoon or something. I'm grading papers, something, or working on a calculation or something. I'm just sitting there, and who comes to the door? But one of those guys from 3 rows up and on the left side, the I Hate Dr. Brickner Club, the charter members, and he came into the doorway, and he said, "Hi, Dr. B. Do you have a minute?" So I'm sitting there just thinking, oh, okay. And so he's told me, "Dr. Brickner, when I was in your class a few semesters before, I hated you." And I knew it. I mean, it wasn't a surprise for him to say that. "And I hated your class." So I'm thinking, okay, do I have to call the campus police again here or what? What can I defend myself with? Actually, I wasn't worried. I just was sitting back listening. Continue. And he did continue. He said, but you know what? Now that I've been in my engineering courses for a few semesters, I am so glad that I had that class because I'm really crushing these engineering classes. And I helped that guy get into med school. So we sat down and talked and stuff. I helped him get into grad school. All right. One of the guys that I would least expect it, during the semester, the I Hate Dr. B Club, 3 rows up on the left side, vice president for life. But he came by that day. And by that time, he understood what Physics 2048 was all about. All right. So yeah, if you have feelings of hatred and stuff for me, it's all right. I can handle it. And I hope you'll be able to handle what we do in this class. So let's continue now with some other topics. Now that I've given you a motivational speech to do your homework, let me hobble over here. Can you switch me over to the laptop, please? Now, hopefully, we've got 12 minutes left. All right, we'll try to do a little bit of clicking here and then dismiss a few minutes early today. And if you have, and we'll just have 10, 15 minutes of office hours. You can come up and ask me questions and stuff. But before we do that, let's do a little bit of trig. All right. And let's follow Professor Galileo's admonition that the language we must use is geometrical figures, circles, triangles, and other geometrical figures. All right, good. Let's start with a triangle. Right triangle ABC. You've seen it a lot of times. All right, let's label the sides. Lowercase a, b, or c, opposite the vertex. So a right angle on one side at one vertex and two acute angles at the other. And, we've seen this since 7th, 8th grade. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, you're going to need to use that this semester out the wazoo. I won't be putting that on the test on the multiple choice. I mean, I'm going to assume everybody knows this. All right, so let's park this over to the side. Now let's get some angle information here. Put in an alpha by vertex A and a beta by vertex B. All right. And with angles and right triangles, what comes to your mind? Sine, cosine, and tangent. Lovely, lovely trig. All right. Sine of alpha, opposite over hypotenuse, opposite angle A, hypotenuse. So that's A over C in this notation. Cosine of alpha, adjacent over hypotenuse. You got to know this. On the test, on the midterm, quiz, final, doing your homework, this should come out, automatically. All right. Tangent. Sometimes we want to work with the tangent. Opposite over adjacent, which in this case, for angle alpha, is A over B. All right, so none of that should be surprising. You've used it a million times before, I hope. And I'm going to give you a homework assignment tonight to prepare for Thursday involving a ton of trig. All right, so you're going to have a big trig. Now let's do the other angle, sine of beta, opposite over hypotenuse. So whatever is opposite angle B, and so that's side B divided by the hypotenuse C. And notice anything? Yeah. The cosine of one angle is the sine of the other angle. That's this trig identity. The sine of u is equal to cosine of pi over 2 minus u. By the way, if you don't know the radian system, you better bone up on it. I'm assuming everybody's used it a time or two. We'll use it a little bit in this semester. But in 2049, you'll have to use it quite a bit. All right, cosine adjacent over hypotenuse, A over C. Tangent, opposite over adjacent, B over A. And for us, the reason I'm bringing up this set of equations here for this triangle, you know, we're going to be working with triangles at the wazoo. I mean, right triangles, accelerations, forces, calculating energy. We're going to have to do a ton of trig. And so we're going to be doing triangles till you see them in your sleep at night. All right. The point being that some of you will think about this triangle in terms of that upper angle beta. And so you'll use that lower block of equations for sine, cosine, and tangent. But a lot of times you can do the same calculation from the viewpoint of the other angle, alpha, in which case you use this upper block up here, this upper block of equations, all right? So when I do a problem on a, acceleration down a ramp, and you got to break it up into components, down the ramp and then vertical or perpendicular to the ramp, I'm going to do right triangles at the wazoo, and you might see it from the ramp angle, you might see it from the complement of the ramp angle, so the other angle. But you can work it out either way, all right? And you got to be able to do that. All right, now let's do a clicker question. For those of you that have your clicker, we're going to use frequency BC for the semester. All right, so hold the power button down until you get a flashing square. Okay, and then type in BC. You'll get a check mark, and then it'll say go nitro. Raise your hand if you got a go nitro. All right, so great. Right, so that means that you can answer. The rest of you can write down the question in your notes, and next time you'll be able to answer it and with your clicker. So let me get this back over here. Okay, here. You have a right triangle. With perpendicular sides 12 millimeters and 7.0 millimeters. Calculate the sine of the largest acute angle. All right, and this is multiple choice, so make your calculation and type it, and type in A, B, C, or D. And the rest of you just do the calculation in your notes and write down your answer. And then Thursday, bring in IClicker. Now, you guys that are clicking today, if you get your IClicker registered by tonight, by about 9 o'clock, I'll synchronize the roster, and then you'll get a bonus point for today. All right. The rest of you, if you get your clicker registered and have it in class by Thursday, you'll get a bonus point. And for every day until January 21st, then we have regular questioning. All right. So this is just a practice question for today. I got one answer, 2, 3. Okay, people are starting to put their answers in. Oh my goodness. There's a guy out in the hallway with a baseball hat, and his sunglasses are parked up on his baseball hat's backwards, and he's got the sunglasses, and it looks like the Scarecrow. Oh my goodness, yeah, with a mustache. That's got to be the scariest thing in the Batman movie, Scarecrow, I think. Now, usually we're going to use a few more digits for our trig ratios, but this is 2 significant figures here today. Okay, let me give you 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, stop the question. All right, now take a look at this. Here are the answers that we got. So nobody voted for A. Good. These other numbers are less than 1 and greater than 0, so and this one actually is the correct answer, and most of the students that voted. Did you guys get that? If you didn't have a clicker, did you get 0.86? Good. All right, so that's the, now when we do clicker questions in class, we're going to look at this, and this tells me that there's a little bit of instruction that we need to do on calculating the sign. All right. And I can't remember how I think this one is 1 over 190. No, 190 is up here. The sum of the squares is 193. I think this is 1 over the sum of the squares. Anyway, so this would tell me that, yeah, we still got a few people that need a little practice, but that's good enough for today. So get your clickers going. We'll do questions like that. We'll have questions where we do calculations. You type in a number. We'll have questions where you have a word or a phrase that you type in, which we can do. And we'll be doing that in class every day. Now, hold on a second. I want to jump down to the homework assignment. Okay, I want you to read up to chapter 2.3 and be ready to calculate problems like the castaway on the desert island problem that you will find in chapter 2.3. So starting from the beginning all the way through 2.3. And focus on 2.3 for your, if you're studying with somebody, work at those calculations, all right? And I'll dismiss now. It's 10:49. I'll see you next time. And we'll have office hours next week. You're dismissed.